that's the, I don't know, one of the big, maybe it's the third leg of the stool for this cycle. Like we've got just like Bitcoin treasury companies, people like just Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin's awesome. Whatever, the US dollar is trash. Bitcoin's gonna like overtake gold. Yeah, okay. That's one of the big stools of this cycle. One of the three pillars. Okay, the second one is stable coins, the whole stablecoin narrative, and the third is stocks. Right, the like stocks on chain, and we saw that Robinhood, and not only Robinhood, but there's quite a few entrants, I think, in the tokenizing stocks game. But Robinhood is huge, and they are now offering stocks that are on chain. You can trade them on chain.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think currently, right now, technically, they're not stocks; they're derivatives to stocks. But they're looking to change that. It's just because of regulation and all that. But yeah, you saw this week them Robinhood talk about this. They rolled out onto Solana via what's called XStock, Kraken, and I think one other exchange, maybe Gate. I can't remember. So yeah, you saw this. Now, I am a wet blanket, and so I naturally side with those who see this as not a big deal, at least currently, and maybe for a long, long time, not a big deal. And why is this not a big deal? Right. First of all, the way that this is working currently is very, very inefficient and kind of just bad, right? Like these aren't traded 24 hours a day. I mean, so you can trade these tokens 24 hours a day, but the price that they are tied to is basically only during the actual U.S. trading hours. So, for example, if you trade these tokens after U.S. hours, the price can change. But in the morning, when the stock market opens up, the Oracle updates to whatever. When you want to sell it in the morning, it updates to the price that it is on the exchange on the stock exchange, and so then you can eat. You'll eat. You don't get to realize that gain if you make a gain during outside of those hours. This really limits how useful it is for traders, right? Because there's basically no reason to trade this off hours, really, if you ever want to like realize your gains during that time. You have to KYC, of course, to mint or redeem this kind of stuff. The liquidity is low. The what's it called? Redemption fee is quite high, 25 basis points. And so then you get into who is this for with all these kind of limitations? Well, it's definitely not for people with a lot of money, right? Not for market makers, because the risks that I just outlined are way too high to ever put size on any of this stuff. So then it's obviously not going to be for professionals. It's not going to be for boomers or people who have access to the stock market. And one last point,
David, go ahead.
One last point. So you say crypto natives. Crypto natives are notoriously short time frame, short-term traders. They're not going to trade something like this because you can't really trade it on a short time frame.
All right, David, at the start of this podcast, I promised there'd be no mid-curve takes, but you're mid-curving it. Tokenized stocks, bro. Like, come on. Whatever this is, whatever Robinhood has right now, it's V0. But end of the day, stocks will be tokenized. And we're going to do away with this antiquated system. There's like some building in New York, the Depository Trust Company, where they like have like I don't know, like mountains of paperwork trying to figure out who owns what stock. And apparently there was a flood there not long ago. And like it's digitized. That similar things exist in other capital markets. Euroclear in Europe. Japan has the Japan Securities Depository Center. And all of these ledgers are going to eventually be replaced by a much better system, and it's going to be on blockchains, tokenized stocks. They've been doing pilots for years towards this, and it's gonna happen.
I agree with all of that. What I'm saying though is you need some big key pieces before this is kind of usable by anybody. First of all, like, I think NASDAQ, I think they said maybe next year, by the end of 2027, they'll have 24 hours, 5 days a week trading.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big one, right? Again, it's going to happen so slowly, right? They're rolling this out in like a year and a half or something like that.
Yes, exactly. But let's not lose sight of the big picture, right? Once stocks are tokenized, you're going to be able to use them in DeFi. They'll be composable in DeFi. Things are going to be so much easier. You'll be able to just like get airdrops of your dividends. It's going to massively improve access to stocks all around the world if we can figure out the KYC issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think it's usable right now if you want to invest in these companies for like a medium to long term, basically.
Yeah.
But then you're not going to do it in size because the people who want to do that are just going to do it directly through a broker, you know? So
yeah.
Anyway,
so the first adopters are just going to be like, I don't know, morons like me who don't know, who don't have a brokerage account and are like, oh, I want some Apple stock.
Have you bought any stock yet?
No, I've never owned a stock in my life.
No, I'm saying of these tokenized stocks, have you got on Solana and bought some?
No.
What do they have? Like
so
Tesla?
like that exists now. I can do that now. So
yeah, you can do that from this week. You can go on and do that.
I might look into that.
Yeah.
I might have to start like paying attention to stocks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe I can get some of those BTCSs.
Yeah. So that's what I would be interested in a lot.
Exactly.
Especially though in non-US markets, right? That's where I would. The thing is though, everyone else is too slow behind this. This is not going to roll out in like, you know, other markets for a while, but it would be great to be able to pick up like Argentina's first BTCS, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Again, though, I think this is something to be excited for like next cycle.